Let's move on to number 10. Okay. And then we have mindless and emotional eating. That's the mindset factor. Remember, I said at the very beginning, 90% of this game that we're playing on healthy, becoming healthy and healthy weight loss, it's mindset. Eating for reasons other than true physical hunger, often driven by stress, boredom, loneliness, or habit. And there's things like distracted eating. You're on the TV, you're on the phone, you're on the computer, where food is consumed mindlessly without awareness of quantity or satisfaction. You know, it's basically it's emotional eating. Emotional triggers tend to lead to the calorie dense foods. I've yet to see anybody who's emotionally stressed out and upset who says, "Oh, I need to go eat some broccoli." Instead they're going to turn to chips, candy, buttered bread, cheese, fried foods, ice cream, the things known as comfort foods. And they're high in sugar, fat, and salt. And we do this automatically. Um, and we do something, it bypasses our natural hunger cues and it leads to overeating. And the brain has a trap, it traps us. Comfort foods flood the brain with dopamine and endorphins, which provide temporary emotional relief. It rewires the brain to use foods as a coping mechanism, which reinforces emotional eating, more guilt, which leads to more emotional eating. What is the purpose of the food you eat? The purpose of the food you eat, the primary purpose of the food you eat is to fuel your body. It is not to make you feel good. It is not to provide you comfort. It is not for the social aspects of food. It's not for any of those. Those are secondary purposes of food. It's all important. I mean, there's nothing wrong with enjoying your food. There's nothing wrong with eating it in the company of, in good company around good people. There's nothing wrong with taking pleasure from your food, but the primary purpose is fueling your body. And just like your car, you don't want to put crappy gas in your gas tank. If you do, your car's not going to run well. But yet, we constantly, because we don't know any better often, we're mindless, we put crappy food in our bodies. And then we wonder why we're tired. We wonder why we don't feel good. We wonder why we get sick. We wonder why we get all these diseases, and we wonder why we die at a young age. Eat first for fuel. Pleasure is a bonus. It's something you derive from the good food you're eating, but it's not the reason why you're eating. Ask yourself, are you fueling your body? Are you feeding, or are you feeding an emotion? If you're eating the food solely for pleasure, consider whether or not you should be eating it. Deb, thoughts?
I want to, yes, I love this, Stanley. And I want to add the brain into the mix. Fuel your brain and your body. For me, I've really started thinking about, is this food good for my brain? Because brain health is a thing, right? We have so many people out there with dementia, and I'm an older mom, so my kids are younger. And I want to be around longer with my brain intact because my brain is me, right? If my brain isn't healthy, I'm not I'm not going to be here, right? So I want to add the brain into the mix. Um, the other thing is there's a difference between pleasure from food and fulfillment from food. Pleasure can happen alone. Um, in the pantry, maybe. I don't know. Fulfillment comes from cooking an amazing healthy meal and enjoying it at home at your kitchen table with your family, right? So think about pleasure. Yes, we want pleasure, but we also want the harder work of fulfillment, of a life well lived, of our brain intact until the end. So that's my addition there, Stanley.